Hi, welcome back. It's day 6 of the candles, and who better to be the number 6 than Danny Shay?
It's my number.
It's
number 6. It's my life path number. It's my birthday number.
That's your birthday number, is your life path.
Oh, is it? Well, see how much I know?
Yeah, well, that's okay because it was Allie was on day 4, and 4 is her life path number.
Oh, okay.
So how exciting. So as you know, we're doing 9 candles again, and I'm going to switch over to where we can watch me light the candles. And we've got the little tray of candle stuff here. And in the new year 2022, starting with the full moon, we light these candles to expand our visions, to give and receive heart-centered love for understanding of the coming in this time of change. Guide our hearts and our awareness to the most beneficial path individually and collectively, and find balance through our movements in these frequencies. And Danny's lighting a candle in California for us.
I am. I just lit my finger on fire. Does that count? Probably
6. That's 6. Oops. Sorry. Okay, 6. Now you're day 7. Okay. You're the 7th day.
Oh, I thought it was 6.
Not the 6th day. I don't know how to count either. Anyway, and for those of you,
my life path is still a 6. Just to let
you're like
know.
you can't change that just because I changed you.
No.
And the Euchre stone in the middle, you can see when there's no light on it, it's kind of a dull little stone. When you put the lights on it, you can barely see the little glowy parts.
Yeah.
Those stones come from Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and they have a certain kind of selenite in them, and otherwise they look like just a little chunk of marble. And the reason I put the Euchre stone in this is we're trying to shine light on ourselves, and we're trying to show when you put the right light on you, then your extra little parts kind of glow. So
you sparkle.
We sparkle. We sparkle.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about Danny's journey. If you've been watching the 9 candles, you know a lot of this was born out of a session, Q&A session with Rory Duff about vibrations and vibrational change, and how the Earth's energy is shifting. Our whole solar system rotated out of a place where we were very protected from certain kinds of radiation. Now we're in the middle of part of space where we don't have those protections. And on top of that, the universe is sending giant plasma waves of energy against us. So it's a fun time.
It is. It's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's just not, and everybody feels this, and everybody's going, well, yeah, I sense the energy, but people don't understand that it is cyclical. As you were saying it in one of your previous videos, that every, what is it, 10,000 years or 14,000? 12,000. Right. That, and they see this energy change in rocks. So we are now coming into that. I don't know what year we are into that. Do you know?
Yes, we spun out. The first wave hit us in December of 2018. And then we had 2 more big hits at the beginning of 2021. So it's
yeah, right. So we're in there, we're feeling that. And this energy that we're feeling, some people go, oh, it's kind of woo-woo. Oh, maybe it's, I don't know really what's going on. But now we're actually figuring out that it is cosmic energy that is changing the planet, even the rocks. So it's changing our collective, it's changing us internally on a cellular level as well. So I found that Rory's video long and fascinating. It was, I mean, it really opens up your eyes to what we could do as a collective. So with my journey, how I've seen this is the last couple of years, I was doing, I jumped on YouTube and I was throwing some cards, and I got a shaman deck. And from that shaman deck, I started becoming more and more interested in shamanism, which is, to me, it's just a way to heal ourselves, to take another look at ourselves in different ways so that we can understand who we are better, who the planet is better, and our relationship with everyone around it.
Right.
And when, and so I took a couple of courses, got some more shaman tarot cards. Next thing I know, people are calling me a shaman. And I push back on that idea a little bit, a lot, because in my perspective, in order to be one of the true shamans, it's a lifetime devotion to that practice, to that way of life. Certainly, I am. My younger years, I was. That wasn't me, and so even though I am now trying to align myself with those values, I have a long way to go, and I probably should have started a long time ago. But what this shift in energy is showing me and making me aware of, it's that there is not one person that is in the community that is the spiritual leader. There's not one priest in a church that you can go to. We are all that higher source, higher knowledge, higher love, and we all need to support each other. So in essence, we are all having a calling to heal, love, understand everything on this planet. Rocks, trees, plants, birds, animals, humans, even the red humans, the red state humans.
Yes. Don't pick on the red states. We're only red because we're gerrymandered that you can't vote differently. Otherwise, we're blue to our heart.
Yep. Yes. And I probably shouldn't have gone there. My apologies. But I'm going to get it after this video. But we're all here on this planet to thrive, not just survive, that old saying. And we do that by supporting each other in this new energy shift that is, it's very familiar to us who have been around, for 12,000 years.
Right.
But those of us who are only been around, for the last 50, 60, 70, we may not remember that last 12,000. So it's all new to us.
Right.
And that's why we need to support each other. Let people have their dreams and their visions and not call them crazy.
Very good.
Right.
I totally agree. And the other thing is, you absorb it. You absorb the information through the lens that you have to understand it. In other words, so shamanism became a better lens for you, and probably the universe is setting you up to be more in that in shamanic tradition. one thing Danny and I were talking about earlier is shamans in the old days, they used to live on the edge of the village. People would bring them food. They were kind of like the wise old women in the Middle Ages that knew how to do all the herbs and everything. But, that's sort of the archetype for the Brothers Grimm and their little old lady who wanted to eat kids out in the woods. I mean, people wanted to know who you were, and if they needed your help, they wanted to be able to come find you. But as far as taking you home to raise or inviting you to Christmas dinner, yeah, not so much. I mean, there's always been that group of people that had a certain kind of nature knowledge that were isolated, and people bring you food. They make sure you survive because they needed your skills, but they didn't have to love you. And I think a lot of people who would never have, I deal with some business people, and this one woman calls me about things that are going on in her business. And she said, you give me the most accurate information, better than the Wall Street Journal about where I need to go when we look at, and she has a long history with me. We have years together. And she said, I trust you. And you just have those skills. And I think there are people who have different kinds of skills and abilities and perceptions. And one of the things that they do talk about, and I'm going to have a link. I'm finally doing it, guys. I'm putting a link at the bottom of this so you can all go see Heather and Rory. And you can understand why Danny says, is that guy still sitting on the couch? But he talks about how each of us, when we get into our groups, we find that different people have different skills and abilities that we didn't even know they had. And they didn't know they had. And all of a sudden, the universe, by being in that circle of people, you can learn what you can do. And that's why they talk about individual meditation. It's important to control our own little monkey mind, but that we need to be doing more group meditative things and teaching people and creating groups that we can coalesce with and be with so that we can share our specific individual gifts.
Right. And I like that concept so much because it takes a lot of pressure off of you. It's not you're the person that needs to do this. Mm-hmm. No, you're just the person that is adding to the collective that is doing it. So we together can be so much stronger. And when Rory talks about going to these access points on the earth that are energetically charged, and for us to go do these group meditations, it's super important for me to make sure that when we're doing these group meditations or individual meditations, that our words that we're using are really clear and positive. You can't talk about how you want to solve a negative problem and let's erase this negative. You got to start off with where you want to be positively, not negatively. And so many people think that they're on the right path with a negative footstep. And does that make sense?
Yes, because I think, I know of one instance in the last year where a group was getting together to learn things, and they ended up pulling in a negative energy. And then that negative energy was pulled out and went to that's how I found out about it. And because somebody came to me and said, if you had any of these problems, and I wasn't having those problems, but I wasn't close enough to the center. So we need to, you need to suss that out. You need to, I mean, the way I do it is I let the universe do it. When I was setting up this 9 candles, I contacted people, and it's kind of like, for people who don't understand how come you have Danny today and you had Alan yesterday, I contact people and I say, I'm going to do 9 candles, and the first 9 people get the 9 slots, And mind you, they're not all rushing through the door to watch that video. I start seeing that. Although made Andrea's day because her little dream thing's part of it. What I think.
Oh my God, that blew me away. That blew me away because I didn't know Andrea was on. And so I sent her, it took me 3 days to watch Rory Duff. And I'm joking with this. I mean, it doesn't take that long, but you do have to set some time. The ending is really powerful. So stick with it. But when they were talking about the group meditations in these certain places, I went, oh my God, Andrea's doing this. She is setting this up right now. And I sent her that video, and then I found out that she was on that day. So
yeah. And to tell you, when you talk, he talks a lot in there about synchronicities and how something just becomes aware. I had a very different 9 days planned. And then Saturday, I heard that video, and that changed how everything got structured. Yeah. And I sent it to Andrea that day and said, listen to this. And I'm not going to tell you what you're going to hear, but listen. So she was like in her kitchen somewhere listening to it. And when they got to that, she said, she just turned around. She said, I was totally stunned. I'm doing this. And what she found most interesting, what I found most interesting, and I am going to finally track Rory down, they're creating a website where you can interactively find groups in your area, which takes a lot of burden off us, because I have a lot of people said, well, I want to join some group you have. And guys, before I had COVID, I wasn't too together, but now it's like, I just have little bits of my brain that don't work like they used to. And so I don't want to run a group, but if there were, say, some group going to go out and look for ley lines around here where I live, we don't have many identified around here. I think it's because we have too many Baptists that don't want us out there looking for them. But we're going to, I'm really excited that he's going to have this interactive group where they can talk about what they're doing, and they can talk about the different kinds of meditations and things they're working with, and the different kinds of energies they're working with, because they have people who do it with song. They have people who do drumming circles. They have people who do all these different things, and they kind of report in, what are they doing? And the more people that do this in a positive light, he says at the very end, if 2 to 3% of the whole world can get into the harmonic to raise our vibrations, then we're getting it. I mean, it's going to start to roll. It's going to start to happen. And he had 10 people 10 years ago, and he's got 1,500 now that are part of this, and they're all actively working on this stuff. And I would love to see it brought over here, because I certainly believe in it. I know that when you hear him talk, I'm going, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, that's
right. And it's, so you say that the synchronicity thing. So on my Sunday show, so often I'll say, before I heard Rory, I say, we're trying to we are forming a circle where we are raising our individual vibration as much as we can, which will raise the collective, which then we get to go out into the world, and people their vibration will be raised just because our vibration's raised. Maybe it's just this much, but it's still better than going, oh my God, we're all going to die. Well, we are, but at least we could be happy while we're here.
It's true. That's true. And we could get a sense of understanding and community, which I think has been so lacking in many ways for people.
Right.
And speaking of vibrations, you know where I'm going with this. Danny and I have been doing a dowsing study project to try and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Danny, this is another rabbit hole I found for Danny. But we found a chart. We found a way to learn how to use a pendulum to check your own personal vibration, because it's like I keep saying every day, it's great for us to say, oh, go raise your vibrations. Well, how the hell do you know if it's better or not? I mean,
Yeah.
Even with my vibrational diary that I've been keeping to see how accurate it is, I'll get up in the morning and I'll think, hey, today's a great day. And I'll start doing my little thing over the chart, and it's not swinging where it's supposed to swing. So I have to think, okay, what do I need to do? And for me, I grab some of my very grounding rocks and I hold on to them for a couple of minutes, think about it, rethink about what the project is, and my vibrations will go up. Now, for other people, it might be something different, that will trigger their vibrations to go up. But you need to know not only what raises your vibration, but also you can spot really fast what's lowering them, like news,
like.
And also, it gives you a way to tie into what's going on inside of you, because we're all going through this change. We all have to kind of figure our way through it. And if I can learn something that can help you and you can learn something that can help me, then we're all going to get there quicker. And
Right.
at 72, we can't get there fast enough, guys. I mean, really.
72?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I graduated high school. How'd you know that?
Yeah, I wasn't born in 72, kid. This is not an aging fast body here. I was actually born. It's really interesting because I was reading about some of the foundational stuff, and you guys, you're going to have to go find your own stuff on YouTube. But there was a guy who was lecturing about people that were born in 1949, which I'm a 49er. We were the last year that was not being born into the Great Change. So anybody who came in my year and chose this to be part of their life path, we knew we needed to come in and study and do some things. And I can sort of divide my life into chunks, and a lot of it has to do with sort of the cosmic awareness and getting myself lined up. And, and that also lets me know when I'm not lined up, when I'm not doing as well as I could do if I was paying attention.
And you said something when you were talking about the pendulum, and you wake up and you go, yeah, I feel pretty good. Let me see where I am. And you go, oh, I guess I'm not. It's in, and then you said, maybe I should grab some grounding stones before I do my project. And I thought, sometimes we get so gung-ho on a project in the very beginning stages that we're like, yeah, let's go. But no, hang on. Just let's take a couple of deep breaths and think, because you may jump into it and then you found out that you tripped on your face. But if you ground yourself first, take some deep breaths and still have the same enthusiasm, but you're walking a little slower into it, right? And so that, I think that's what the dowsing gives for us, just a time to slow down and we're just going way too fast as a society. So anything that can get us to slow down, I think is good. Even COVID has its place, even though it's so brutal on some. It is hopefully teaching the planet to slow down and to take a look at what is super important to them and really important to them.
One of the things COVID has done is taught all of humanity that we are humanity, because there's not a person in this planet that can't get this and has not been affected by it. And societies, and you can see when people try to move forward with hope and doing positive things, and the people who run in fear and cause chaos, and the other thing I put below in this recording is Danny and I did a thing called Good Vibrations. And it came from studying vibrations and studying frequencies. And there's a video that's at the very beginning, and it's swinging balls. And when it starts off, they're all swinging together. And then because all of them are on a different length string, they all end up with different frequencies. So there's like chaos in the middle. And then they go back to swinging evenly. It's an experiment done at Harvard, and it was part of chaos theory.
Mhm.
And when I showed that to Danny, he went, "Oh, we got to do something with this." It's very cool visual.
Yeah.
It's a very cool visualization of when you're in sync and when you're not.
Right. Right.
And that means in
And-
sync. Hmm?
Yeah, and I think that we're getting in sync a lot faster than it feels like to us.
Mhm.
Just because we're out of sync, and it's like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get there? It's going to happen, I believe, really quickly.
Mhm.
That people are just going to start like going, oh yeah, this is right, because we can't take too much more of this nonsense of fighting each other just because somebody doesn't like a color. I'm like,
Mhm.
or an opinion.
Mhm.
We've got it, and there's going to, I truly think that there's going to be some kind of shift that's going to slap us and wake us up a little bit. So we'll see what that will be, but we're getting there. And I think this is such a super exciting time to be on this planet, to be alive. It's really something.
Yeah, and it's worth exploring these different avenues of how the change is happening, because if you guys watch the video, you'll see that according to where they're projecting things now, and so far I haven't seen these guys project anything that wasn't happening, but supposedly we're going to get to a point where these plasma clouds of subatomic particles are going to so penetrate the iron core of the earth that it's going to bong like a big bell, and it's going to send out a resonance through our planet that will gong for 500 years and change the ley line.
What's that going to do to my tinnitus?
I don't know, but mine was quiet until you mentioned that nasty word. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how much of this is. I mean, I'd much rather know that the world is in that kind of crazy chaos mode in a way, and that it's not just me, because otherwise I start thinking, man, this is really crazy.
Yeah, right.
And
it's part of the community, the crazy community.
And
that we've,
to understand that, we have to evolve up, we have to move up, and if we have to leave people behind, we didn't leave them behind, they chose to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that 500-year gong. So, I mean, is that going to just shake all life so that just off the planet and start over again? Or are we going to adapt to the gong vibration, which that's where we're going to go with it? And that whole gong, that whole music of the earth, the center of
the harmonic, earth, right?
The harmonic is going to change the way we interact with everything. And we may feel it, we may not feel it. It's going to be like a great big old tuning fork in the shape of a ball.
Right. And the thing is that one of the things you need to remember is these times were spoken of in ancient history. And there was a time when we had a combined consciousness, so that within a community, people kind of knew what the other person thought and how things were going to go. Mm-hmm. And then we started splitting into individuation. And that's when a lot of the native texts and the part of the Vedic texts, I think, is that how you say it? Vedic, the Indian text. But then they talk about that there was these changes and shifts, and people started writing about, can you imagine if you lived in we're having enough trouble giving up our individual selves to become part of this. But can you imagine if you had that safe, secure community feeling, and all of a sudden you saw people being cast out and having individuation in a way you'd never seen before? It would be crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all
You know,
part of
and
cycles and waves.
right. And I was reading the book of Hopi, where they talk about that, where, you know, their society is going along swimmingly. Funny, I had that word, since, you know, they talk about the Atlanteans and the Palladians. And when they split, when they left their big city to start another city, that's when the society started breaking down.
Right.
So when they lost their sense of community.
And so we're coming at it from the other direction. It's like we've been raised to think I have to do things on my own. It has to be my deal. I have to have some great leader. I can't trust this combined consciousness that is not, because it's not that it's leaderless if we surrender to the values of the group, but it doesn't put one person in charge. And that's part of when I was younger and we had gurus on the side of mountains and the Beatles were going off to India and all that stuff. I was like, I don't want to surrender my will to one other person, you know, that's going to, whether it's the Pope or some guy on the mountain, you know, that just never felt comfortable to me. Whereas this idea of becoming a unified within a group of people is appealing to me.
Right. Yeah. I think this is a fascinating time. It's shaking us up, but it's just fascinating.
And one thing I'd like to ask the people who are watching the 9 Candles, we have 2 more days after this. We have Diane Aquarius is going to come and talk about life journeys and how her perspective on how our journeys walk around this planet. And the last day is going to be Sheila from Celtic Tarot, and we're going to be talking about joy, you know, the joy we can all walk into. But what I'd like to know from the people who are watching this, and I've gotten a couple comments about it, is do you want us to help you learn and pursue this sort of group thing that Rory's doing, you know, and spread the word out to you? Because that's what I'm trying to do now. I'd like people to do their own research and decide what they want to do, but to come up with groups or to come up with training sessions or things to get people more aware of how these vibrations work, because I do a lot of work with sacred geometry. That's how I build my grids, but I didn't even know what I was doing when I started. And then I saw all the videos and read the books about sacred geometry and said, oh, that's what I'm doing. Not the first time in my life this has happened, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, I came up with the perfect recipe for spaghetti and I didn't even know that Italy existed.
Yeah, right. I know.
So
and that's part of this exciting journey is that we're doing things, we're finding that we're doing things, and then it's like, oh yeah, well, of course you're doing it because that's the way they did it years and years and years ago. It's already been proven, and you're just stumbling on this. Good job.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you feel like, well, why did it take so long? But I tell you what, it's not, I mean, it couldn't have taken, I doubt very many people started finding their whole new career at 69, although it's not impossible. And certainly in these times, it's absolutely not impossible. Absolutely. But I'd like feedback, because I know Andrea's going to continue to do her groups and look into this. But there's a lot of things, you know, finding ley lines, understanding these shifts of energy, because I think the more you can physically feel the change of energy, the more real this becomes. And then it doesn't seem like a fool's journey.
Right.
Although the fool's journey.
A fool's journey.
Well, we're all on the fool's journey, but you don't feel that fear people feel about stepping off that damn cliff, even if you have a little white dog with you.
Yeah. They don't see the big guy there with his big hands out. Gonna catch you.
Yeah,
so,
you do. You just go to the next card. Now you're the magician. You survived falling off that cliff, and you've got all the power up and down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, if you guys would like to know more about some of these other things we've talked about, sacred geometry being part of it, I do have a great animation of sacred geometry, which is very long, but it's very all-encompassing. And
I can't wait. Will you send it to me, please?
I've sent it to you, and you already admitted you couldn't sit through the whole thing the first time because you had things you
I'm
had
going
to do.
to. I did, but I will sit through it.
Well,
I
it wasn't.
promise I will.
It wasn't terribly relevant to today's discussion. Today's discussion is like our journey. How do we meet our journey, and how do we move forward into this time of change with heart-centered love? You know, And that's where we're going.
That heart-centered love is big.
Yep, because what we're having to accept is that the brain is not where the action of how you get your body motivated to move forward is. You have to tie into that heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you have any other incredibly wisdom, wise words to bring out?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Go.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, I think all my wiseness has come out for today, at least until as soon as you turn off the video, then I'll have more good things to say. But
yes.
No.
But no, I want to thank
This is
Dan.
awesome, Nancy Jean. Thank you for setting this up because this is super powerful. Having this collective come together in these 9 candle circles, talking about all the different things is super powerful. So thank you for setting this up.
Well, before we can depart from 9 candles, we have to blow them out because I have to remind people you've got to blow them out because if you don't, you won't have candles tomorrow. There we go. Candles are out, and let's see if the Uber light's going to look better this time without the candles in the middle. Yeah, he kind of glows.
Yeah.
It's a really, if you can get to Lake Superior and find those, they're wonderful. And they don't have those in California, Danny, not on your shore.
No.
Although there's biofluorescence on the waves if you go along with the black light. Yeah.
You don't even need to do the black light.
Oh, really?
No. You can see them. They just light up. It looks like the waves are glowing. And I can't remember if it's full moon or if it's new moon. But I used to dive with them, and your fins would kick, and you could see a trail like a
I've
jet
seen that.
stream.
I've seen that in.
It's amazing. You think you're in space.
Right. And the world's an amazing place, and there's all sorts of things happening around us, and we just need to tie into it and go with the flow and do the thing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Bye-bye.